She's like, what?
All right. Good evening, everyone. We're going to call into session our working group. So we have our school financial review board here starting at 6:15.
So every year, January, I am required to provide you some financial information on our investment income report and also on our financial indicators. So you should have some paper copies underneath your agenda that we're going to look at tonight. Starting with the annual investment report, all of our money is in one bank, so it's a little easier to look at. In 2021, we had the first merchant bank, we had a federal rate was 25 basis points, which is approximately 0.5%. And as you can see, that brought us back to that 94,000 mark, which our goal was to get around 100,000, so we achieved that by switching banks in 2020. If you go back to 2019, I know it looks like a yo-yo effect with these funds. In 2019, First Financial really offered us a great deal that was very short term. We've got anywhere from 1% to 2.5% depending on the funds. So that escalated our interest income significantly. Then about March of 20, they reduced all of that to 0.15%. So that's why you see such a low amount in 2020. So we're kind of back up to that target mark of around $100,000. And First Merchant Bank was providing great service, so it was good change. Can I answer any questions on that document?
No questions.
Okay. All right, on to our fiscal indicators. So these are metrics that are housed on the Distressed Unit Appeals Board website, which is a part of the Indiana website. So you're used to seeing these. I think this is maybe the third year that we have these indicators. I will remind you of a little weird line. So what is posted to the public right now is more along the lines of 2020. But I am taking the liberty to project that out to 21, where I think we're going to land. So we'll just walk through this. The first graph that you see is our average daily membership, our ADM count. The blue boxes are the fall count, and the green boxes are the spring count. And then you'll see in 21-22, that was the first year that they started counting virtual students, which we only get 85% funding for. So for this year, we landed for in-person students at 4,832, and then plus our 51 virtual students. So we did have a decrease of 168 students. A lot of that we contribute to COVID.
Where did we see the most decline? Was that in any one particular school, or was that just across the board?
I would say it's more the kindergarten class.
Okay.
Parents are choosing to keep their kindergartners at home a little longer. I think, if I remember correctly, there were 40 of those students from kindergarten. And the secondary continues to grow. It's more in elementary and especially the kindergarten. The 51 number might change. There's a lot of pushback on this because we do our baby count in September.
So the self-insurance funds that I think in 2020, if I'm looking at this right, that's now below, we've saved money instead of spending.
We don't have self-insurance funds. Those colors are hard to distinguish today. Which number are you looking at?
I'm looking under the 2020, I'm looking under the bar chart, and the ones, there's two funds that are now below the line.
Okay.
Might be federal? Does it look like federal? That color?
And that would be, most federal grants are based on reimbursement. So we probably ended the year with a negative balance because we can't ask for reimbursement until January. And then the other is actually federal stimulus funds. And so these are also ESSER funds that we can only get reimbursement for. So we are waiting on reimbursement to level those funds out.
Okay, thank you.
I do have another question. So we've done a pretty good job with the rainy day balance up to 2017 and 2018, and for good reason, we have dipped into it a little bit over the last few years. Where do you see that going next year?
The rainy day funds. Unless we decide to make a late purchase or something like that, I think we have a fund balance that we can probably maintain that every day,
Okay.
unless, some emergency comes up.
Okay. Sounds good. Just curious. Thanks.
Just like it's intended for, right?
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah.
All right, and then the next one is annual deficit and surplus. The green bars are revenue and the blue bars are expenses. So for 2020, we've got $64.5 million in revenue and $65.8 million in expenses, which would be a deficit of $1.2 million. This is also all of the funds together. If I just pulled out the main funds that we focus on, which are education, operations, debt service, and referendum, we would be at $59.1 million in revenue, $58.5 million in expenses. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that we didn't really land in a deficit of $1.2 million. Again, those are reimbursements for federal grants that we haven't gotten back yet, that type of thing.
If I could also remind everybody, and also in the audience, all of this information is available on the Indiana government site, and it's listed under distress unit appeal. It was put into law several years ago, and those sites are actually interactive. So the things that you're hearing, you can manipulate those. So you could actually go in and say, let's see Franklin Schools Education Fund only. And for tonight, what we did was we created a very static environment for the presentation. But I wanted to make sure everybody understood where to find this when we're not in session. What are those questions?
Yeah, the default is always to all funds, but you can go in and it's a drop down on check boxes if you want to look at specific isolated funds.
So Tina, to that line, if you would add the link to that website into the minutes,
Sure.
just so if anybody references back that they've got that.
The next graph is fund balances as a percent of expenditures. So as you can see, in 2020, we landed at 26.8%, and the projected
What was our goal when we set the referendum? Did we have a goal on what that percentage would be?
Then we put a smaller tax rate.
Okay.
I haven't really gotten any guidance on whether there's a push to
Okay.
You know, the history behind the fiscal indicators, if you remember Muncie and Gary schools when they were really struggling and the state was going to have to take over, and they're like, well, how come you guys didn't know what was going on? You know, to the people in the community, et cetera. So they came up with the fiscal indicators so that we would all be able to see, hey, if there's anything that's going to cause stress, that's going to send us to the Distress Unit Appeals Board or something along that lines. So some of the things that, as it's moved forward, like the referendum budget, and you know, some schools get it, some schools don't, they still put it on there as a percentage of revenue. But as you know, each school gets to decide what they're going to ask for in the revenue and how they're going to spend it. You know, ours is very detailed. It's going to be support staff salaries, teacher salaries, and mental health, where other schools are going for operations. So determining what that's going to be really is going to be up to you all and your authority as you travel forward in that one aspect.
It's really interesting to look at these metrics for other schools. Some schools don't have any way that funds at all. Yeah, there's just different ways of doing things in our district.
All right. Any questions for Tina? No? Thank you, Tina. All right, the next item we have in this working session, we need to re-elect the president and secretary for the financial board. Do I have a motion for the president?
I'll move for Christy Ott to be president.
No, this is for the financial.
This was just for the financial.
Oh, for
That's
financial.
Tina.
Yeah.
Are you the secretary?
So I was the president for this year,
Yep.
finishing up, and then the secretary was Tina.
I believe it was you, wasn't it? Yep. And this was really just for the, was we look at the interest activity that we talked about and making sure we sign up on, that's what this one is
I guess
with
so are you
regarding to.
president?
Yeah.
And then you want to, okay,
Yeah.
so I nominate you, I nominate Mr. Lamb for president of the financial review
Okay.
board.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Brian. So Brian, how would you vote then?
Excuse me?
Vote yes.
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Christy?
Yes,
Thank you. And then who do we have as a recommendation for secretary? Who's our secretary?
This year, I believe it is, I thought it was Tina in this. Now, did you have that one? I believe it was Tina for this fiscal board. I think it could be anyone from here or Tina, I believe.
I would recommend that we keep Tina on as the secretary. for
I'll
that.
second.
yeah,
Brian seconds that?
Yeah.
Becky, you okay?
Yes.
yeah.
Christy?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. So with that, then, we can close the working session.
All right.
All right?
I'll come back in just a little bit.
Yep, we'll be back in a few minutes for the board meeting.